to have an intro, or I'm just going to start because I got a lot to cover. How you guys doing today? All right, so my name is Andy Stickle. Let me ask you, by show of hands, who here yesterday was the first time you had ever heard of me? Okay, so about half the room, cool.
About 50 of your Facebook ads, they're working.
Perfect. Hold on a second. Wait. Only 50? Only 50? I need to text my marketing people because only 50 is not acceptable.
Okay.
It's got to be 200. Who here else has gotten about 50 of my Facebook ads since you sat down in this room today? All right, cool. Well, hey, you know what? That's what I do. I'm a marketer. I teach lawyers how to market their business. I teach lawyers how to grow their business. And I recently came up with something that, I started looking at, I talk to lawyers all the time. I have over 300 lawyers in my coaching program. I have over 100 clients. And I always talk to lawyers, and I'm trying to figure out, like, what's that magic bullet? And most of you have probably kind of thought that to yourself. Like, what's the magic bullet? If I can just do this one thing, what is actually going to be the secret from going to, maybe $100,000 in revenue to $1 million in revenue, or $1 million in revenue to $5 million? Have you guys ever had that thought? Let me know if you've ever had that thought. Like, what's that one thing I can do, right? So I read a book recently called Atomic Habits. Has anybody read Atomic Habits by James Clear? Okay, so are you guys familiar with the concept of the aggregation of marginal gains? Do you guys remember that from the book? Okay, so I read this book, and I was thinking about that. I was like, it's really cool. And what the aggregation of marginal gains is a concept where instead of focusing on just one big thing, making one big thing that's kind of the magic bullet, what if we can focus on making subtle changes to lots of small things, and collectively, it's going to have massive results, even better than just fixing one thing, right? So in thinking about this and talking to tons of lawyers, I actually came up with 5 very, very simple moves that lawyers can make where if you implement just one of these moves, I promise you will double your revenue. Who here, raise your hand if you want to double your revenue. All right. If you implement all 5 of these moves, you can 5x your revenue. Who here wants to 5x your revenue? All right. So here's what this is all about. This is something called the aggregation of marginal gains, right? I'm not even going to try it. I'm just going to type, oops. They say that whiteboard spelling doesn't count. AMG, aggregation of marginal gains. And basically, where this came from is the British cycling team, right? So in the early 2000s, and basically up to the early 2000s, from basically 1900 and to about 2001, the British cycling team was absolutely terrible, right? In that time, I actually have their stats here. In 100 years, they won 1 gold medal, and they never won the Tour de France, right? And that's terrible, right? That's a horrible record. So in 2003, they hired a new strength coach, or a new performance coach. And he had this concept called the aggregation of marginal gains. So what he focused on is, instead of basically trying to make this one massive improvement, like let's just pedal faster, right? He figured, what are all the tiny things that we can improve and just make small marginal gains on these tiny things that will ultimately have a big impact. So for example, I'm just going to give you some examples of what he did. First thing he did is he redesigned bike seats to make them more comfortable for the riders. He rubbed alcohol on the tires to make the tires grip the pavement better. He had riders wear heated shorts so they would maintain the ideal muscle temperature. He tested which fabrics were more aerodynamic, so he put every fabric that they wore on their shirts, everyone for their socks, their pants, everything, in a wind tunnel to see which ones were more aerodynamic, right? But he didn't stop there. He continued looking for 1% marginal improvements where they could start getting an edge. So, for example, he tested different types of massage gels to see which ones led to the fastest muscle recovery. He hired a surgeon to teach the riders the best way to wash their hands so that they would reduce their chances of getting a cold, and therefore they wouldn't have to miss practice and miss training so much. He determined the best types of pillows and mattresses that led to the best night's sleep, and so much more. So here were the results. During the next 10 years, now keep in mind, before this they had won 1 gold medal and they never won the Tour de France. Over the next 10 years, they won 178 world championships, 66 gold medals, and they won the Tour de France 5 times, right? So I'm going to teach you how to do this same concept for your law firm, right? So who here thinks that this would be a pretty cool concept to implement for your law firm? You find 1% marginal gains that you can increase everywhere, right? All right, cool. So this is a method that I call the 5x5 method. And I've gotten it down to about 5 things you can do, right? And it's not, don't worry, you're not going to be testing massage gels or anything like that. It'll be pretty cool. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have a sample law firm here just to kind of show you what these numbers look like, all right? So my sample law firm, and you guys can write these numbers down for yourself if you want. My sample law firm is currently getting 20 leads per month. And these are qualified leads. They're closing 30% of these leads. Most of you are probably closing better than this. This means that if they're getting 20 leads, they're closing 30%, means they're getting 6 new clients per month. Their average case value is $3,000. Oops. And that means that they are making $18,000 a month in revenue. All right, so $18,000 a month in revenue. I think we can all do better than this, right? Now I'm going to show you how you can take 5 simple moves and get this law firm to 10 times $18,000 in revenue. Sorry, 5 times $18,000 in revenue. So the first thing that you can do, the first move that most lawyers are already prepared to make, but they just haven't made yet, is to set up a follow-up system. Let me see a show of hands. Who here, when a client leaves your office, has a good follow-up system, a prospect that didn't hire you has a good follow-up system to reach back out to them? Who has one? Okay, so about a quarter of the room. All right, cool. What about people when they go to your website? Who here has a follow-up system where someone visits, let's say you're a personal injury lawyer, someone visits the motorcycle accident page of your website, and all of a sudden they're going to start getting ads related to motorcycle accidents on Facebook, on Google, different places like that. So 1 hand go up, 2 hands go up. Okay, so a few of you, handful of you. So that's the biggest thing. Now here's the thing. When I was in college, I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. When I was in college, I had a business where I transferred people's VHS tapes to DVD, right? And what was cool about that is that everybody has a box of VHS tapes in their attic that is basically gathering dust and is going to be destroyed pretty soon. So what I did is I would drive around, I get those big yard signs, and I would handwrite VHS to DVD and then my phone number. And I would go out probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd put them at busy intersections, and then I'd go home and I'd wait. And the first time I did this, 5 o'clock rolled around, rush hour came by, people started calling me left and right? And I picked up the phone, everybody was like, oh man, I've been looking for this service. I've got an entire box of VHS tapes at home. I'm going to go home, I'm going to count them up, I'm going to call you back, and then we're going to do this, right? And that was basically the same conversation I had 20 or 30 times that first day. And then, so everyone's like, I'm going to go home, I'm going to count my VHS tapes, and we're going to call it back, I'm going to get a transfer, right? But that was Friday evening. By Saturday evening, not a single person had called me back. No one called me back. Nobody hired me. So I was like, okay, well, maybe that's just bad luck, so I'm going to do it again. So I did it again next week. Same thing happened. I got about 20 or 30 phone calls. Everybody said they're going to call me back. Nobody called me back. Third week happened again. And this time I got angry because I was like, I'm wasting all this time. I'm wasting all this money. People say that they want to do this, but they're not doing it. What is the problem? So for some reason, I have no idea why I did this. I actually wrote down the names and phone numbers and some information about every single person that called me when they were calling, right? So I went back to the people from week 1. I picked up the phone and I called them and I said, hey, this is Andy. We talked a couple weeks ago and you were going to count your VHS tapes and I was going to transfer them. What happened? And one by one, every single person was like, oh man, I want to do it. I couldn't find your phone number or I forgot about it. I got busy, whatever. That weekend, I went through, I called every single person that I had talked to, and I made $5,000, right? Now, who here remembers being broke in college? Raise your hand if you were like me, and I wasn't even Kraft macaroni and cheese broke in college. I was ramen noodles every day. Remember those packs of ramen noodles for $1? That's what I lived on for about 4 years. And I made $5,000 in a single weekend. So I basically won the lottery, right? But that's where I learned that you need to follow up. That's where I learned that follow-up, the fortune is in the follow-up. Write that down. The fortune is in the follow-up, right? So you've got to put a follow-up system in place. Only 3% of people who are looking for a product or service, or who are in need of a product or service, are actually ready to buy. Forrester did a survey. They found that 56% of people that hired law firms did so after the 5th touch with the brand. I'll say that again. Forrester found that 56% of people that hired law firms did so after the 5th touch with the brand. Now, what you have to ask yourself is, are you giving yourself the opportunity to get people 5 touches with your brand? And if you're not following up, then the answer is probably no, because there's lots of reasons that people would be searching for a lawyer, or they'll find some of your content and they will want to call you, but they're not in a situation where they can call you. And so if they click on a PPC ad, for example, and then they close the website and they don't remember who you are, then they're just going to go to Google, they're going to search for somebody else, right? So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you have a really good follow-up system, because you're losing tons of qualified leads without even knowing it. So you can follow up with people who email you. You can follow up with people who fill out contact forms on your website. You can follow up with people that visit your website. Anybody ever been on Amazon or Wayfair before, or any website, and maybe you're looking at like a toaster, right? Or you're looking at a couch on Wayfair, right? And then all of a sudden, you look, and every website you go to, that toaster is miraculously appearing. Maybe there's a certain internet marketer who you clicked on one of his ads or watched one of his videos, and you're looking at him right now, and you clicked on one of his things, and now he's everywhere. Has anyone ever, raise your hand if that's ever happened to you, right? Here's why. Because brands like Amazon and Wayfair and all of these big brands that spend millions and millions and millions and probably billions of dollars are not stupid. They understand that the fortune is in the follow-up, and they understand that if they are not following up with people, they're leaving money on the table. They understand that only 3% of people are ready to buy. So that's one of the biggest things. So we actually have a client. Actually, we did a campaign, 2 different campaigns, and this is going to show you the power of this, right? So we have we do marketing for a lot of different law firms, and we have 2 different criminal defense attorneys. One is located in Florida, and the other is located in New Jersey. Actually, he's in New Jersey. So we did a Facebook campaign for them. It was literally the exact same campaign, right? And they each brought in 300 leads in a single month. So the difference was the attorney in Florida got 75 cases, and the attorney in New Jersey got 0 cases. Who here would be happy with 75 cases? And these are $3,000 a piece, by the way. It was a DUI case, right? So $3,000 case. Who here is happy with 75 DUI cases? Raise your hand if you're, or 75 cases that are going to be $3,000 a piece, right? Who here is happy with 0? So here's the difference, right? I called this attorney, the attorney in New Jersey, and I said, listen, you got 300 cases, or 300 leads. What happened? How do we not get any cases out of this? He said, well, I called them, but I couldn't get anybody on the phone, because it was all contact form submissions, email submissions, chat box, stuff like that, right? Who here has ever had that happen where somebody calls you, emails you, leaves you a message, emails you, fills out a chat form, and then you can't get in touch with them ever again? Has that ever happened? Raise your hand if that's happened to you. Okay. So he's like, I couldn't get him on the phone. I was like, well, how many times did you call them? He said, I called them once, maybe twice, which we all know means he called them 1 time, right? So then I talked to this guy, and I said, hey, Kevin, you absolutely crushed it. How did you get these leads on the phone? I mean, I talked to another guy. He said that he couldn't get anybody on the phone. So Kevin said, well, nobody answers the phone the first time. They probably don't answer the phone the second time. So what we do is we have a system that we call 3 ways 3 times. And I was like, what is 3 ways 3 times? So he told me every single lead that comes in, they get a text message, and then they get a phone call, and then they get an email. And then, if they don't respond to these, they get a text message, they get a phone call, and they get an email. And then if they don't respond to these, they get a text, and they get a phone call, and they get an email. And he does not give up and mark a lead dead until they have been contacted 9 times, right? And actually, if they contact on social media, they also get a direct message. So some people are getting contacted 12 times. This right here is the difference between 0 and 75 cases. Remember what I said? The fortune is in the follow-up, right? Who here thinks that is worth a worthwhile investment to invest in somebody to do this system full-time to get 75 cases worth $3,000 a piece? Anybody? Okay, so that is the difference, right? Now, if you guys implement some sort of follow-up system, it's going to be really good. Now, here's another thing you can do with Facebook. I do this all the time. I love this strategy with Facebook. So has anyone ever here seen one of my videos, and then all of a sudden you start seeing more of my videos? Has that ever happened? Okay. You guys want to see how I do it? It's pretty cool. All right, so here's what I do. This is, a lot of times, this is your entire market, right? And the problem is that a lot of times you guys have big spending attorneys who basically just blanket this entire market with ads, right? Has anybody experienced a similar situation to that? Okay, but the problem is that really, if you look at the people that need your services, it's really probably like that percentage, maybe even half of this, right? Maybe I'm being generous, right? But what happens is, these other marketers, they can basically pay to blanket this entire thing with ads. This is what I call killing a spider with a shotgun, right? It's just, it's inefficient, but if you guys don't have the money to compete with this, you're gonna lose, right? So how do you just target this percentage and ignore everyone else? Well, here's how you do it, and this is exactly how I do it, and this is what the attorney who got 75 cases did. First thing you do is you figure out who are these people, these people that are your likely client, what problem do they have? What is a big problem that they have, right? So, for example, maybe it's maybe you're a personal injury attorney, and the first problem is they can't get their medical bills paid, they can't get their health back, right? So, what you do is you record a video. This video should be about 3 minutes long, and it shouldn't advertise you, shouldn't talk about how you're a super lawyer, shouldn't talk about how many cases you won, shouldn't even say your name in the beginning. It really just needs to be about them, right? So what you want to do is you want to run this as a video view ad, right? And you say, hey, if you can't get your medical bills after a car accident, paid after a car accident, here are 3 steps you can take, right? And then you're going to show that as a video view ad to this entire market. So you're going to do this whole thing. Now, video view ads you can get for about 2 cents per play, which is really, really cheap, right? So then what you do is you tell Facebook or Instagram, pay attention to people that watch 25% of this video. Now, 25% of a 3-minute video is how much? Anybody shout it out? Anybody? 45 seconds. All right, so 25%. So anybody that watches 45 seconds of a video that is very specific to this problem, what are the odds that they probably have the problem, right? Think about social media. Picture your kids on social media. I picture my daughter on social media. Anytime I do anything, if it's like half a second and she's not interested, she's on to the next video, right? So what are the odds they're going to stick around for 45 seconds? The only time they're going to is when they actually have this video addresses a problem they actually have, right? So what you do is you say, Facebook, pay attention to people who watch 25% of this video. And then show them video B. Video B is going to be a video that solves their second biggest problem. Here's what to say when the insurance company wants to talk to you. Or here's 3 ways the insurance company tricks you when they ask you to make a recorded statement, right? Then you tell Facebook, pay attention to 25% of these people. Show them another video. Solve another problem, right? So what's happening is people are now going down the rabbit hole, and by the time they get to this video, they've watched 25% of this video. By the time they get to this video, they watched 25% of this video that has a problem that only these people care about. And they've watched 25% of this video that has a problem that only these people care about. So this one right here can be another value video if you want. Or what you can do is you can say, look, you've watched 2 of my videos now. You know you have a problem. I know you have a problem. Give me a call. We're going to solve the problem for you today. Do something like that. It works. It's what I do. That's how Kevin got his 75 cases. And that attorney gets 150 leads per day right now. And this is a big part of his strategy, right? So that's definitely a good way that you can follow up. So let's say you take my advice and you implement a follow-up system. If you implement a follow-up system, just by following up, not even by creating more traffic or anything, you will increase your leads by 50%. So your leads are going to go, you're going to get 30 leads a month. You're still closing 30%, so you're now going to get 10 clients per month, which means that you are now making $30,000 per month. Who here wants to make more than $30,000 per month? Let me see your hands. All right, then you're going to need step 2. Step 2 is going to be double your leads. Now, I want to talk to you about doubling your leads for a second. I think I heard your guys' eyes roll as I told you that. What do you guys think the most important part of being successful is? Somebody shout it out. What do you think is the most important part of being successful? Anybody? What's your definition of success? What do you think is the most important element to have, most important character trait? Ruthless consistency. I like it. Give it up for Charlie. That's a good answer. All right. Well, who else? Who else? Any ideas? Systems. All right. That's a good answer. Give it up for Christopher. Come on. Vince Lombardi. All right. Good answer, James. All right. The answer is mindset. The answer is mindset. Mindset is the most important thing to being successful. My favorite quote in the world, and a quote I tell my kids every single day, pretty much when they're complaining about stuff, is whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Right? And what's Steve Jobs' favorite quote? The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, that's a Henry Ford quote. So two people that probably shaped the world that we live in more than anyone else, their famous quotes are about mindset, right? Now, the interesting thing is mindset is, there's a mechanical element to mindset that no one had ever explained to me before. And once I understood how mindset works, then you can kind of start to see that it's not just some cheesy, like, yeah, have a good mindset, but you can actually kind of start to understand how mindset works. So here's what I want to do. I want to break down the mechanics of mindset, and then I'm going to talk to you about how you can double your leads, all right? So the thing you need to understand, let's say this is you right here. Poor drawing, but this is you. Everything that happens in your life, doesn't matter if it's good, doesn't matter if it's bad. Actually, it isn't good or bad. It's just a fact, right? So let's say that your spouse comes to you and they say, you know what? I want a divorce, right? It's not good or it's bad. It's just a fact. What makes this fact good or bad is the frame that you put around the fact. And this frame is going to make you happy or it's going to make you sad. And this frame that you put around this fact is how you look at the actual fact, and that is going to cause belief. Now, belief is a two-sided coin. On one side, you have faith, and on the other side, you have doubt. So let me give you an example. And here's the thing. I'm going to tell you a secret. Both faith and doubt are beliefs. They're both made up. Neither of them are real. Whether you believe that something positive is going to happen, whether you have faith, or whether you think something negative is going to happen, you have doubt, it's all in your head. You're completely making it up. But what is in your head is going to dictate what's in your hands. So let me explain this to you. Let's say you have faith with your divorce. Your spouse comes to you, they say, you say, I want a divorce, right? If you have faith, you're going to say, okay, well, you know what? That sucks, but it's actually a really good opportunity because now I can actually go out there and I can actually meet my true soulmate. I can get back out there, I can meet people, I can have fun again. This person drove me crazy anyway. It's probably for the best, right? So I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna meet somebody, right? That's if you have faith. Let's say you have doubt. You say you have doubt. You say, oh, my life's over. I'm never gonna meet anybody. I'm just gonna go to Dunkin' Donuts and buy a 12-pack of donuts and just sit on my butt and eat donuts all day, right? Both of those are belief and both of those are made up, right? But here's the difference, right? When you have faith, faith is going to cause a state of anticipation. Now, do you guys know what anticipation is? You guys remember, who think back to when you're like 8 years old, right? And you remember like it's Christmas Eve, okay? And you know that that Santa Claus is coming in the morning. You got all these presents that are going to be under the tree. And your parents, for some reason, make you go to sleep at like 6:30 at night. And actually, now that I'm a parent, I know why they do that. It's because we still need to wrap the presents that night. But you remember how you couldn't sleep? You were so excited, right? Or maybe you've gone on a vacation and you're really excited about the vacation. It's the night before and you can't fall asleep, right? That's anticipation. That is expecting a positive outcome. That's expecting an outcome that you desire, right? So if you have faith, you're going to have anticipation. You're going to think, wow, I'm so excited. I'm going to meet a new person, and I can't wait. We're going to have all these adventures together. We're going to travel. We're going to have wine tastings. We're going to do all this stuff that we love to do. I'm really excited. So if you have doubt on the other side, though, it's going to cause anxiety. Now, anxiety is often confused with fear. Anxiety is not fear. Fear is the presence, is only when there's a real and present danger. I play golf. I hit a bad shot one day, and I was walking down. I'm in Florida. I was walking down by the water. I look right over there, and there's I think it was a 47-foot alligator. I don't know how big it was, but I was like, oh, so I'm sweating, my heart's beating, all this stuff. That is fear. That is a real and present danger, right? Anxiety cannot exist if there is, fear cannot exist if there is not a real and present danger. So if you're afraid of something, or if you're, I'm doing air quotes, afraid of something, it's actually anxiety. And what anxiety is the expectation of an outcome that you don't desire, right? So you are getting, your spouse says divorce, you have doubt that you're ever going to meet anybody, and the desire that you don't want is you're expecting to just live alone with your 17 cats and put on 97 pounds, and you know that's what you're expecting. So you have doubt. So here's why this is important. Because whether you have anticipation or anxiety, that is going to cause your action. If you have anticipation that you're going to meet somebody new, you're going to take a positive action. You're going to go to the gym. You're going to go out when your friends call you and say, hey, we're going out for drinks tonight. You want to come with us? You're going to do all of these positive things. You're going to go out, you're going to go clothes shopping, you're going to get in shape, you're going to eat healthy, right? You're going to take positive action. That is then going to make the thing that you had faith of actually happen, right? Now, if you have doubt, you're going to have anxiety, which is going to cause a negative action. Has anyone here ever tried to write a book? Has anyone ever wanted to write a book? Okay, so I'll tell you this. I've written 2 books. The first book I wrote took me about 3 years to write. You know why? Because I was afraid, or I had anxiety, that the book wasn't going to sell. So I didn't take the action to take the step. But my last book that I just wrote, I wrote in 30 days. Because I had this anticipation. I was like, I know this book is going to be fantastic. I know it's going to sell. I know we're going to sell thousands of copies. I know it's going to change people's lives. I know it's going to change their employees' lives. I know it's going to change clients' lives. It's going to be amazing. I wrote that book in 30 days. And the only reason why was because I had a different mindset, right? But regardless, if you have faith or doubt, you made it up regardless. So that's my point, my long way of saying that you have to have the right mindset about doubling your leads. Because I think that every person in here knows that it is possible to double your leads. But you just have to have the idea to do it, right? So how can you double your leads? Well, the easiest way to double your leads is to start doing value videos like I just showed you, right? Because that's going to automatically start doubling your leads. But there's lots of other ways you can do it. You can do Facebook ads. You could do networking. You could get on local podcasts. You could start a local podcast. You could find non-competing strategic partners and build referral relationships. You could do search engine optimization. You could do Google AdWords. You could do radio ads. You could do television. You could get featured on the local news. There's so many different ways. I just named like 17 ways. Maybe not 17, but if you want even more ways, contact me. I'll give you even more ways to double your leads. But the point is that what you need to do is you need to take ownership of the results before you know the path. Right? So a lot of times people say, well, I'm going to start doing this stuff. I'm going to start doing Facebook ads, but I'm only going to start doing Facebook ads once I actually know how to run a Facebook ad, and once I know what to say in the videos, and once I'm good on camera, and once I'm doing all this stuff, right? But the thing is that that's like saying you're going to drive from Tampa, Florida to Los Angeles, California, but you're not going to leave your house until you can see the California state line. If that's your approach, then you're never going to get to California, but you're never even leaving your house. You're never even in Florida, right? So let me ask you a question. Who here, show of hands, who here knows how to swim? Does anyone here know how to swim? Okay. I'm going to pick on you because you're sitting in the front row. How did you learn how to swim? And actually, I promised the people in the back row I was going to pick on them. How did you learn how to swim? I'm going to pick on you, actually. You don't know how to swim? Okay, so you got in the pool and you swam. All right, who here knows how to ride a bike? All right, how did you learn how to ride a bike? Okay, so let me ask you a question. So you didn't learn how to swim by reading a bike or going to a conference, and you didn't learn how to ride a bike by going to a conference or reading a book. So how did you do it? You jumped in the water, you flapped your arms, you swallowed water, you fell off your bike, you skinned your knee. But here's the thing. You get good at doing the thing by doing the thing, right? I'm not that great on camera, but when I started, I was terrible on camera. And the way that I got good at being on camera and good at talking in front of people, which I'm still not good at talking to people, I screw everything up. But the way that I get better is by doing it. I have this concept called jump out of the plane and build your parachute on the way down, right? So I do this all the time. I call my team up. I say, hey, we're going to do an event in 3 weeks. And they're going to say, what's it going to be about? I'm like, I don't know. Let's just sell tickets to it. We'll figure it out. What are you going to talk about? I don't know. I'll figure it out. Like when I'll give you an idea. Honestly, like up to this week, I didn't, on the last, like 7 days ago, I didn't really know what I was going to talk about today. I figured it out as I'm going through, as I'm building stuff out, right? So the thing is that you learn and you get good at something by doing it, right? So the secret to life is mindset. And the secret mindset to doubling your leads is that if you take ownership of the result before you know the path, then you will figure out how to do it, right? Does everyone here knows different ways? You know of ways that you can get more leads, right? Everybody here, like you guys are smart. You went to law school, you passed the bar, you know ways you can get more leads, right? The thing is you just have to figure out how to do it, right? And if you take ownership of the result before you know the path, then that will happen. So, and if you need more assistance, actually a really good way, if you want to learn more about using social media, go to freebookforlawyers.com and you can get my other book for free, and that shows you a really good strategy. So let's say you double your leads. Change my color here. How much time I have? All right, cool. All right, so you double your leads. Now you're at 60 leads a month. You got 60 leads. That means now you're getting 20 clients a month. 20 clients times $3,000 a client is now $60,000 a month. So now you're making $60,000 a month, and we've only made two moves. All right, so move number 3. Create a better offer. Who here has a unique offer that makes them different from every single lawyer in their market? Raise your hand if you have a unique offer. Okay, cool. Few people. Awesome. All right, so there's a lot of people that don't really understand what an offer is. And an offer will give you a unique advantage. It'll give you an unfair advantage over every single lawyer in your market, right? So let me give you a very, very simple example here. So there's a guy, his name is Travis Jones, and he says, make an offer that is so good that they will feel stupid saying no. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. All right, who here has kids? Anybody have kids here? I got 3 of them. All right. Now, let's say, for the parents here, let's say you have an option between 2 babysitters. There's babysitter 1. And there's babysitter 2. All right, babysitter 1 says, for $8 an hour, I will watch your kids. Babysitter 2 says, for $8 an hour, I will watch your kids, I'll clean your house, I will cook a healthy meal, I will help them with their homework. I will make sure that they don't do any screen time. So I'll play games with them so they're not having any screen time. I'll read them a story, and I will put them to bed before you get home. For $8 an hour. Are you going to go with babysitter 1 or babysitter 2? Babysitter 2. Does this say baby 1? All right, you just screwed up my entire presentation. Thanks. that's a lawyer for you, I think. Yeah. All right, let's assume that this is a Pinocchio universe where they cannot tell a lie. All right. All right. Now, so babysitter 1 versus babysitter 2. All right. Now let me ask you a question. Babysitter 2 says, actually, I'm not $8 an hour. I'm actually $12 an hour. Which one are you gonna hire? Babysitter 1 or babysitter 2? 2. Okay, but she costs $8 or she costs $4 an hour more. Okay. What about $16 an hour? So she's twice as much. Still babysitter 2? She's cleaner, exactly. That's my point. My point is that when you give an offer that makes it stupid for them to say no, price becomes irrelevant. Who here is tired of tire kickers? People who are non-contingency, obviously. Is anyone sick of tire kickers basically saying, well, yeah, but you'll do it, but this attorney says he'll do it for $500 cheaper, right? We'll go to the other attorney. Or give them a better offer. So a lot of times, I talk to a lot of attorneys, and I've seen the question come up a lot of times about lowering your prices. You should never, ever, ever lower your prices. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to put your hand up, right? Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I solemnly swear. I will never, ever, ever Under any circumstance. Lower my prices. All right, there you go. You should not lower your prices. You should increase your value. That is what I do. I never lower my prices. I always figure out, okay, how can I make my offer more valuable? Not how can I make myself more, not how can I cheapen myself, right? That's how you need to look at yourself. So you need to come up with a really good offer. A good offer solves all the problems that they think they have. It makes you one of a kind, and it makes it impossible for them to compare you with the lawyer down the street, right? So here's what I want you to do. This is how you can come up with an offer. And take an hour to do this. This will be the most profitable hour of your career, I promise you, right? The first thing you want to do is you want to ask yourself, where are they in life and what is the result that they want? Now, let me give you an example. An estate plan, a bankruptcy, these are not the result that they want, right? So here's an easy way that you can figure out what is the actual, and actually, you want to ask yourself, does this pass the airplane test? Now, let me tell you what the airplane test is. A couple years ago, back when we used to go on vacation, my wife and I went to Cancun, right? And it's a foreign country, it's Mexico. I don't speak the language, even though I took 2 years of it in high school, didn't really take. So we hired a travel agent. And the travel agent told us about, all these different resorts, and we found one that we really liked, so she gave us some information about it. She's like, yeah, so what's amazing about this resort is that, first of all, it's adults only, so there's no kids, which score, right? Second thing is it's all you can eat, and it's all you can drink, and your room is located right on the beach. So all you have to do is walk out your door, and you can go to a private beach. You get a tiki hut. You have a waiter that comes and brings you food and drinks all day while you're hanging out at the beach. You got lounge chairs. Your room has its own plunge pool, and it's just absolutely amazing. Does anyone here know what the travel agent didn't tell us about? And if you've heard me tell this story, don't shout it out. But does anyone know? Price? Okay, that's a good guess, but that's not it. Does anyone else have any other guesses? Didn't speak English? Okay, that's a good guess. That's not it. Anyone else? The beach is in New Jersey. No. She didn't tell us about the airplane ride. You know why? Because the airplane ride sucks. Nobody wants the airplane ride, right? Nobody wants to get to the airport 2 hours early and then have to check your bags and then go through security and then you go through and you have to take your belt off because the alarm's going off. Then you got to wait and you got to stand in line and get in line. And then you got to get on a plane and you got to sit there for 2 hours. Then you got to get off. Then you got to go through customs. And you got to wait for the bag. Then you got to find the people that are driving you to the resort. And then you're in a car for 45 minutes. It's not air conditioned. Nobody wants that. What they want is the resort. They don't want the airplane ride. If you are a bankruptcy attorney, what they want is freedom from their debt. They want to be able to buy a new house because their wife is complaining about the kitchen. And they have 2 boys who are 8 and 10 years old, and they share a room right now in their apartment that they're in, and they're constantly fighting. And they need a house so that they can get a little peace and quiet so that their kids aren't constantly fighting, right? They want freedom from their debt. They want the bills to stop, bill collectors to stop calling. They do not want a bankruptcy. So you have to sell the resort. You don't sell the bankruptcy. If you're an estate planning attorney, nobody in their right mind wants an estate plan. Nobody wants a trust. Nobody cares. What they want is they want to make sure that if they die, their stuff is going to go where they want it to go. They want to make sure their kids are not going to go to the crazy aunt with all the cats, right? And that the government doesn't have a say in what happens, right? So that's what you need to sell. You always need to sell the result that they want, not your service. So that's the first thing you need to think about, is you need to think about, am I selling the resort or am I selling the airplane ride? So write down the airplane test. You should always do that with all of your marketing. The other thing you need to think about, and the other thing you always need to do, is to ask yourself, what's in it for me? Put yourself in the shoes of the client and ask yourself, what's in it for me? Everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? The sweetest sound to everyone's ears is their own name, right? So think about them first, right? So the other thing, yeah. What's that? Why do I care? Okay, there you go. That's right. So, yeah, so you have to think, like, why do they care? Why do they care about what it is that you're selling them, right? And if they care about why do I care about the estate plan? I care about the estate plan because it means that if I die, my kids are not the government doesn't say where my kids go. So that's why they care. So again, it's another way of saying it, but yeah, it's a good point. So the other thing you have to think about when you're trying to create an offer is what are the problems that are created as a result of hiring you. So for example, if you're, okay, so let's say you buy a car, right? Your initial problem was you needed transportation. You needed to get from point A to point B, right? So you buy a car, problem solved. But now you've got a whole other set of problems. You need to get a driver's license. You need to pay for gas. You need to do maintenance. You need to get oil changes. You need to do all that stuff, right? So every single problem that you solve creates new problems. So what you need to think about is what are all the new problems that are going to be solved or that are going to be created as a result of them hiring me, right? And if you think about all the problems that are caused, you'll be able to figure that out, and you can make that as part of your solution. Another thing to think about, and this is something you have to really think about hard, but it's kind of cool, is how would I deliver my service if I charged 10 times the fees? How would I justify charging 10 times the fees, right? Now, obviously, if you're a personal injury attorney, you can't charge 300%. But if you were to charge, let's say you were to charge 90%, and you had to actually justify charging 90%, right? And now, obviously, you're not going to charge 90%, but what would you do? How would you deliver your service differently if that was what you were doing? And then you can back that back, and you can think, okay, well, these are some things that I might be able to do right now. I might be able to implement, even if we keep our fees the same, right? So 3 things you should always think about. The end result, how can I make it better for them? How can I get it to them faster? And how can I make them get the result easier? Or how can I make the process easier, right? Better, faster, easier. Those are always the best parts of an offer, right? So the other thing you think about is what are the parts of your job that can be listed as features that can be used as part of the offer. So for example, if you're a personal injury attorney, part of it is, well, you don't have to talk to the insurance company anymore. You hire me, you don't have to talk to the insurance company anymore. Now, here's the other thing. You can take services that you already do and rebrand them and make them part of the offer. Does anyone know what the discount double check is? Has anyone heard of that? The Aaron Rodgers thing with State Farm? All they're doing is they're checking to see if you qualify for any more discounts. And they turn it into an entire dance move that he does when he scores a touchdown and everything. But it's just called the discount double check. It's a gimmick, but it works. So I worked with a client, a personal injury attorney, and we created something called a medical concierge in his office. And this is based on stuff that they were doing anyway, right? So what they do is when you sign up with us, when you retain our firm to handle your car accident case, you're going to get a medical concierge. This is Jessica. She's going to be your medical concierge. And what Jessica's going to do is she's going to book all your doctor's appointments for you. And what's cool about that is she's actually going to find doctors that we work with that are the best doctors around. And the cool part about that is a lot of these doctors even defer their payments for their medical bills, and they get paid after the case settles, right? So what's cool about that is that even if you can't afford to pay doctors right now and your insurance company won't pay, you can actually go get some treatment right now. And on top of that, you don't have to worry about getting your records because you sign this form for us, and we'll actually contact the doctors and get all your medical records. So basically, you just go to the doctor, you focus on getting better, and your medical concierge will take care of everything else. And on top of that, we'll even give you a ride to the doctor's office and a ride back, or we'll give you Uber gift cards or whatever to get to the doctor's office, so you can get there. We had another client. He has there's an electromagnetic mat. It's called a Beamer. Has anyone ever heard of these things? So it's really cool. They're like $5,000. They're kind of expensive, but it's like an electromagnetic mat for pain. And the reason I know about it is because my wife has one. She has some joint issues in her hand. And she used to go to a doctor's office, and they would allow her to, basically it was like a subscription, like $50 a month. You can go into the doctor's office whenever you want, and you can go in, you can lay down on this Beamer machine, and somehow it fixes your pain, right? So what if you got a couple of those in your office, and that was part of your offer? Say, hey, look, what's cool is we have, for all of our clients, we have these Beamer machines, and you can come in, as long as you're a client, you can come in whenever you want. We got this room over here, you lay down, you pick up a magazine, you lay on this thing, and you feel great after, and it lasts for 24, 48 hours, right? Or what if you bought a few of them from your law firm and you gave them to clients to use during the case? And they basically borrowed them. Once the case is over, they give it back to you, and then with the money they can buy their own. Like I'm saying, you can think of things, think of problems that they have, figure out ways that you can solve them that your competitors are not doing, right? So we had another client who gave loaner vehicles when people were getting their cars fixed. We had another client, a personal injury attorney, who actually had a condo that he let people. He actually had a few different condos around the city. He was a real estate investor. He said, I got these places. They're sitting there empty anyway. Why don't I let some of my clients who are going through tough times live in these condos while their cases are going on, since they can't pay their bills anyway? So it's like different things like that. Another thing is he uses an app called Voxer. And Voxer is basically it turns your phone into a walkie-talkie. It's pretty cool. Now, the other thing is think about what other services and skills do you have that you can offer. So there was a personal injury attorney in Los Angeles. And is anyone from Los Angeles in here? LA? All right, so you know how competitive LA personal injury is, right? So he did not have a big budget. He really didn't have a big budget. And I heard this story from a guy named Derek Mullins. This wasn't my story. But I love this idea. He used to be a criminal defense attorney, and he used to do lots and lots of traffic tickets. And he wanted to get into personal injury. So what he did is he went out and he got a box of these gold business cards. So they were like gold foil business cards. And he got like 5,000 of them printed. And he went around and he went to every single partner that he could think of who could send him business. So auto shops, chiropractors, physical therapists, acupuncture, anyone that he could think of. And he gave them these cards. And what this card was good for was one free traffic ticket defense over the next 10 years, right? Because he's really good at handling traffic tickets and it didn't take him that much time. So he used these skills that he already had to drum up business. But what if you say that to your client? You say, hey, listen, when you hire us, we're also going to handle your, you get any speeding tickets, we'll take care of them for you. Be creative and figure out what can you do that can differentiate you from every other attorney out there and give you an edge. Because when you add all this stuff up together, and one person just says, yeah, we'll fight the insurance company for your rights, and we say, well, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and you're going to get the beam machines, and you're going to get the medical concierge, and we're going to fight your traffic tickets for you, and we're going to give you, all this stuff. We're going to let you live in my condo, and it doesn't compare. All of a sudden, you don't compare to the other people, right? That's kind of what my point is, right? So if you make a better offer, you will get more clients, right? So when you do that, when you make a better offer, this closing percentage is going to go up. So let's say you make a better offer and you increase your closing percentage up to 50%. So you go to 50% now. So now you're getting 60 qualified leads. You're closing 50% of them, so now you're getting 30 clients per month at $3,000. Now you're making $90,000 a month. Right? And that's after 3 moves. Now, we still have 2 more moves that I'm going to try to get through in 15 minutes here. Actually, wait, I only have 5 minutes, don't I? Ooh. All right, so. All right, number 4 is increase your closing percentage. Who here thinks selling is bad? Raise your hand if you think selling is bad. All right, awesome. So you guys have good mindset, so we can just skip this section. No, but here's the thing, right? So a lot of times, lawyers are sometimes hesitant to kind of feel salesy, right? And you don't necessarily want to be salesy. The thing is that who here has heard the saying, people love to buy, but they hate to be sold? Has anybody ever heard that saying? All right, that's completely false. People love to be sold. Who here remembers the first time they saw an iPhone? Does anyone here remember the first time they saw an iPhone? I waited in line for 5 hours to buy an iPhone, and I was so excited to do it. My friends and I, we stood in line at the Florida Mall for 5 hours to get an iPhone 3G, and it was the best day of my life. Don't tell my wife. And so people love to buy. The problem is people hate bad buying experiences. They hate bad sales experiences, right? So there's a difference between convincing and persuading. Convincing is getting someone to do something for your reasons. Persuading, which is what you want to do, you want to persuade people to hire you, is getting them to hire you for their reasons. What you need to do is you need to discover their reasons that they want to hire you and then help them come to the conclusion that you're the best solution for them. So when you're convincing, you're trying to get someone to hire you for your reasons, and you never want to do that. You always want to make it for their reasons. So for example, I talked to an attorney a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about doing a website and search engine optimization for him. And increasing his leads. So I asked him, what do you really want to do this for? Why do you want more leads? Because everyone knows, more money, more problems, and more clients are just more headache and everything. So why do you want to do this? So what he told me is that the reason that I want more clients and the reason I want to grow my law firm is because I love riding my motorcycle. I bought a motorcycle. I never get to ride it. He lived in California. He wanted to ride up the Pacific Coast Highway, and he just never had time to do it. So he wants to be able to make enough money so that he wants to have enough leads coming in consistently and predictably so that he can hire an associate to work on his law firm for him so he can go spend as much time as he wants riding his motorcycle. From that point on, that conversation was not about me getting him more leads or making him more money. It was about me helping him be able to ride his motorcycle as much as he wants, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's where when you find out that the kids are sharing the bedroom and they need to get their own bedroom, or the wife wants a new kitchen, or they're tired of driving a piece of crap car, right? You have to help them figure out their reasons that they want to hire you. And when that happens, people will thank you for selling them. That happens to me all the time. People thank me for allowing them the opportunity to buy from me. And the reason why is because I'm not convincing. I'm helping them discover their reason that they want to be successful, or sorry, their reason that hiring me makes sense, and I show them that, right? So a good sales experience does not feel like a sales experience. A bad sales experience is what happens when you're trying to talk somebody into hiring you, so you don't want to do that. You always remember, people do things for one reason and one reason only. That is because they feel like it. So your job is to make them feel like hiring you. So the other thing I want to ask you, who here's gotten a really, really good result for a client? Has anyone gotten a really good result for a client recently? All right, what's a good result that you got for a client recently? Somebody raise their hand. What's a good result you got? Okay, you got a DUI dismissed. What about you? That's it? Only $8 million in income tax? All right, let me ask you a question. The DUI defense. 3 minutes. All right, cool. Let me ask you a question. Is that client, are both of your clients, are they better off as a result of you doing everything in your power to sell them your legal services? Are they better off in life? What about your client? So they're good. So they're better, right? So my point is that Jay Abraham says, if you have a service or a product that helps people, you have a moral obligation to sell it to as many people as possible. Selling is serving. Don't forget that, right? So I'm going to go kind of quick here. So let's say you increase your closing percentage, let's say you get better at sales, right? And I don't have time to go into getting better at sales, unfortunately. I'm a little bit out of time. But let's say you go to 65%, right? So now you're closing 65%, and you haven't really even increased your leads. You get 60 leads, 60 qualified leads, 65%. Now you're getting 39 new clients per month at an average of $3,000 per case value. And that means you're now making $117,000 per month, up from $18,000, right? Now, the last strategy is to find strategic partners. Now, the thing is that strategic partners, who here closes almost 100% of referral leads, assuming they have a case? Anybody? Like, pretty close, right? These are the best leads. They're the hottest leads, right? But the problem is, most of the time, people don't think about alternative ways that you can find strategic partners, right? So I'm just going to rattle off a list, because people don't use, like, if you're a personal injury attorney, what are the normal ones? Chiropractors, body shops, physical therapy maybe, right? But there's so many different places that you can find strategic partners. Just think of every single problem. Again, think of every single problem that your prospects have, and then who can they go to solve those problems? So, for example, if you're a personal injury attorney, you could link up with a body shop, a chiropractor. Those are the obvious ones I think every personal injury attorney knows. You could do acupuncture. You could find yoga instructors, because people need to strengthen their core. They need to be flexible again. You can do Pilates, massage therapist, car dealership, car lenders, insurance brokers, diminished value companies, temp agency, divorce lawyer, bankruptcy lawyer, estate planning lawyer, probate lawyer. I got more. A therapist, a physical therapist, car rental companies, vocational training, a real estate agent for when they need to sell their house, or if they need a new house, a mortgage broker, apartment complexes, tax attorney, accountant, wealth management, a gym, a personal trainer, a nutritionist, self-defense, a shooting range. Maybe you're a family law attorney and you're representing a woman who's never been home by herself and she wants to get a gun. How about a shooting range? How about a self-defense class? How about schools? How about temp agencies? Preschool, daycare, babysitter, pet sitter. There's so many different ways that there's so many different referral partners that you can create, right? How much time do I have here? I got 2 minutes. All right, so what can you offer them? Obviously, you can offer them money. That's just one thing. But one cool thing you can do is you can make them part of your offer, right? If you make them part of your offer then and tell them, I will make you part of our offer, then, but you have to give us all your business, right? So, for example, you can say, if you're a personal injury attorney and you're helping people deal with pain, you say, when you sign up for us, you also get 3 free acupuncture sessions. You also get a 15% discount at this body shop. You get a month of free rent at this apartment complex, right? And you go to these places, you make deals with them, and you say, look, I'm going to make this part of my offer. So every single client that we get is going to get this offer. I'm going to send business your way. I just ask that you send business my way. And what will happen is you'll start getting lots and lots of referrals that you don't have to pay for until afterward, So it's really cool. So another thing, and this is the final thing I'm going to say, is keep your referral partners happy. You can send them money, that's great, but send them personalized items, right? A personalized item is not something with your law firm's initials on it or your law firm's name on it. It's something with their information on it, with their name on it. You have to remember, if it has your law firm's information on it, it's promotion. If it has their name on it, it's a gift. So you can do like I had a client recently who referred somebody to us. He's a huge Tampa Bay Bucks fan. So he and his father used to go to Bucks games. They had season tickets ever since '99. His father recently passed away. I sent him an autographed Tom Brady helmet, right? He will be a client for life because of that. He's so happy about it. I could have given him $2,500, which is what the helmet cost. But he gave me that. He called me. He's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? This is the best gift anyone's ever given me, right? Send personalized gifts. Trust me, they will like it so much better. You can do sports tickets. Give them tickets to their favorite sports team. It's not that much considering how much it's an investment, right? So, all right, so now let's say you just get an additional 12 leads per month, right, from your referral partners. So if you get an additional 12 leads per month, that means you'll get 72 leads, still a 65% closing rate, probably higher because you'll probably close at 100%, but we're just going to say 65. That means that you're now getting 47 clients per month, at an average case value of $3,000. You are now making $140,000 per month just by doing 5 simple things. So, if you guys implement just one of the things that I talked about, you'll double your law firm. I promise you will, right? So, if you have any questions about this, I got to wrap up. My name's Andy Sickle. Thank you guys so much for letting me hang out with you today. And I'll be around if you guys have any questions. Thanks.